Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Leith, and when I'm not wearing my writing cape, I'm a mild mannered husband, a stepfather, an entrepreneur, and an adjunct professor of tourism management and hospitality studies. I teach at Pace University in White Plains, New York, and during the day, I own a full service travel agency. And I just love to bring what I do during the day into the classroom at night. I have two of my own children in college, and while my contemporaries are reveling, like myself, in their newfound empty nest status and thinking about retirement and travel, I'm returning to the classroom, albeit a virtual one. Why? Some days I'm not quite sure, but the simple answer is I'm a lifelong learner. I crave and love to acquire and share knowledge. And in addition to honing my writing craft and someday unleashing that book I have inside of me, sharing is also what I intend to do with this degree. While the MFA is a terminal degree at many institutions in its own right, it will also take me halfway to a doctorate in English. And while I've enjoyed my 18 years as an adjunct professor, I'd like the opportunity to teach full time and while I still have sand in my hourglass, so to speak. My favorite genres are horror, not graphic and gratuitous, but more subtle. Things that startle, unsettle, um, things that leave you feeling disturbed, um, things that are fear inducing. For horror to be effective, it has to play heavily on one's ignorance and fear of the unknown. Now, while this creative writing genre is intended to help the reader escape reality for a few hours, even a well informed and highly educated reader is easily led down the fantasy rabbit hole by the carefully chosen words of a writer who has honed his craft. I also enjoy forensic crime detective novels. My favorite author is in this category would be Jeffrey Deaver. I like legal thrillers. Authors such as Scott Turow and John Grisham can entertain me for hours. And my own category for now, I'll say, will be adult contemporary. I like to write in a typical heterodiegetic style, where the narratology, the narrator, doesn't take an active role and isn't part of the story, but uses a somewhat objective and omniscient third person as his voice. As someone who knows something, but not everything, about the characters involved and the events that take place, with the main characters. Lastly, I have been drawn to the short story my whole life. In particular, the collections of short stories that authors will publish once they have an assortment that equal in length to a full length novel. Two of my favorite popular fiction writers, the aforementioned Jeffrey Deaver and Stephen King's newest, I'm not sure this is going to display, there we go, Stephen King's latest collection, is Bizarre of Bad Dreams. Now I'm going to paraphrase Mr. King here, where he says the story format is actually, pardon me, the short story format is actually more challenging than a full length novel, as you have left time for character development. I personally think more authors should adopt this format, as I think far too many find themselves just stretching out the inevitable during the middle 150 or 200 pages or so. And as a consequence, they leave many a reader bored. Well, this is my first foray into this form of digital technology. I appreciate your indulgence. This is my second semester here at Southern New Hampshire University. I enjoyed my first two courses over the November to January period, and I truly look forward to learning more about everyone and sharing. And I thank you again for this opportunity. Be well.